Commissioner Dave Nelson. I see Mr. McKnight is here and his attorney, Mr. Anagnostou. Who else is here on that case? I see Jill Hicks. Mr. Anagnostou, I did not see a genetic test done yet.
That's correct, Your Honor. My client got out of jail, but then ended up back in jail, and now he's in Wahkiakum County correctional facility there. And so he was unable to get a genetic testing done.
All right.
And I'm not sure. I just found that out this morning and was able to get a hold of Wahkiakum to have him here. I'm not sure how long he's incarcerated or for what, but that's where we're at this time on this case.
Mr. McKnight, do you know how long you're going to be in custody?
Trying to post bond today or tomorrow, so I can go take care of some stuff in Calhoun County. So I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks I'll be out. I tried to do the DNA thing, but it was canceled because not everybody was. It wanted everybody.
Sir, what is before me is whether I should enter a emergency minor guardianship that would last for 60 days. And we've been putting this off for a while, hoping that you would get a genetic test. My inclination is to enter that order today and still wait for your genetic test. If it shows that you're the father, then we'll have to address visitation issues at some time. So I'm not precluding that, but I think for today, my inclination is to sign that order. Mr. Anagnostou, any response?
No, Your Honor, that at this point seems appropriate. I don't want to speak for my client. I'm not sure how long he's incarcerated, but we have been bumping this along for a while. I assume the child is currently being cared for by the petitioners, and that's appropriate.
Yes. He's a good man.
Okay, and Ms. Hicks, you were here. I'm looking for.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, do we have an order for their? Okay. So what I'm going to do is enter an order on emergency minor guardianship and then set a hearing 60 days from now to determine if we need to extend it. If Mr. McKnight does a paternity test and it shows that he's the father and he wants to come to court sooner to address visitation issues, then he can do that after the test is done. Okay.
Your Honor?
Even though it may be sooner than 60 days. Yes.
Your Honor?
Yes, please.
Hello? I don't know if it says what he did in court, but he's beat on his new wife already, and I'm really concerned about Madison being around him for her safety.
So I'm not indicating I'm going to grant visitation because those are factors I would take into account.
Okay.
But I think Mr. McKnight has a right to ask for it, and then we'll look at all of those issues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm not granting anything at this point other than appointing you the guardian.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh, and also there was a do not disturb order, and he called me a couple of times wanting to settle out of court. And is he supposed to call me? The box was checked on the do not disturb order, but there was 2 boxes underneath that wasn't checked. So I wasn't sure if he was even supposed to contact me or not.
Yeah, under the do not disturb, he's not supposed to. So Mr. McKnight, you cannot contact Ms. Hicks. Your attorney can if you want to have a discussion with her, okay?
And I had a question regarding that, Your Honor. Am I going to be appointed in the main guardianship action?
Has one been filed?
I don't know.
Let me,
That's a great
oh, it
question.
looks like that's what we're actually is part of this action. Yeah, I should do that. I think that makes sense. So I'll appoint you in that.
Okay.
What does that mean?
I had appointed Mr. Anagnostou, Mr. McKnight's attorney in the part of this case for the emergency minor guardianship. But if
Yes.
you're asking for a full minor guardianship, that's a separate matter. And I'm agreeing to appoint Mr. Anagnostou for that case also. Mr. Robert.
All right, thank
Kepling
you.
is here. All right. So we're here today at this 60-day mark to determine if we need to extend the emergency minor guardianship. Mr. Robert Hebding, you're still in New York?
I am.
Okay. You're Miss Estelette?
Yes, Your Honor.
The children are with you and they're doing well?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Mr. Hebding, do you have an objection to extending the emergency minor guardianship another 60 days?
I really don't see the need for it at this point. I mean, they're there, I'm here. I'm going through all the steps that were requested by you. I've done the parenting course. I have a certificate of completion. I'm working on getting the drug and alcohol addiction assessment. It was supposed to be done yesterday, but the counselor had to reschedule for next Wednesday.
Have you had any personal visits with the children?
Video visits.
Okay, so you've continued the video visits?
Yes.
Okay. I think all that is good. I think the issue we have is Ms. Estelette needs to have some authority for the children to live with her so she can deal with their medical and education needs. And without the guardianship, she wouldn't have that authority.
She has that authority without guardianship.
How does she have that authority?
When I got out of jail, I signed a paper that she could make decisions for medical, school, things like that. The emergency guardianship isn't necessary for that. She already has that authority.
Okay. Let me hear from Mr. Angelico.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name was still on it. I believe that we were allowed to withdraw as the children's attorney last. The court was going to enter a bench order, but I think that did not get entered on the subject. I guess it would be a concern whether or not there is authority to deal with all of those things once there was a emergency order was granted, Your Honor, what effect that had on his consent prior to that hearing. So if the situation is the same and if the order basically is for in the purpose of insurance and educational purposes, then I don't think that there should be an issue whether or not it's extended. I know Mr. South, I thought was intending to be here because that's Mr. Hebding's attorney. So I'm not sure if he's logged on or is logging on for this hearing, but I know he represents Mr. Hebding.
I don't see him here on the list.
Ms. Estelette, any comment from you?
Excuse me, Your Honor. The children just recently had tonsillectomies and adenoidectomies 2 weeks ago. They're in recovery now, and they're still due for more dental work. They're comfortable here. As far as I know, no parental papers have been filed for custody. And so I think extending the guardianship only, lessens the complications for things like school and ongoing medical care.
All right.
May
I'm
I
gonna,
speak for a moment?
yes, please go ahead.
The kids have already, like I said, I signed a paper that gave Miss Esselette permission to make medical and schooling decisions and all of that. It was all taken care of before the emergency guardianship was ever even filed. The kids have been taken care of. She's been able to make those decisions before all this. I don't see the need to continue the emergency guardianship.
Right. I think there is a need to continue it in order to make sure that Miss Estelette has the authority to deal with the children. So I'm going to continue it another 60 days beyond June 26th is when the current one expires. I want everybody to know that I cannot extend it farther than that. And if you feel that a guardianship needs to extend beyond, I guess, towards the end of August, then you'll need to file for a full guardianship and make sure the parties are served on that. Otherwise, the emergency guardianship will go away, and then I guess everybody can agree to what's going on, but there won't be a guardianship in place. Okay. All right. So let me set a review date for that. 26. I'm going to set a review date of August 17th. Just to keep in mind, the expiration of this next of this extension will be August 25th. And I just want to check in on the 17th to see what the status of the parties. Are you planning a trip out here, Mr. Hebding, this summer? Do you know?
Well, I was waiting to see what was happening with all of this, and I would definitely like to see the kids this summer.
I don't think there's, I think we might have, well, I didn't check my notes on this. I don't know if I required supervised visits, but if I did, it would be good if you could visit the children this summer under the order that I entered.
I would like to, yes.
Okay. All right.
And Your Honor, can you enter a bench order today that allows me to withdraw?
I have made that note, so I will make sure I do that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Angelico.
Your Honor,
Go ahead, Ms. Estelette.
the last with the filing of the emergency guardianship order, you had supervised visits 6 to 8 hours in Washington State.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Just-
So if Mr. Hebding shows up, then that needs to be complied with, so he gets some time with the kids. Okay. All right. Thank you all. I'll
Thank
see
you.
you back here in August.
Thank you.
Okay, just a moment. Mr. Anagnosti, you're on that case.
I am, Your Honor. I was appointed to represent the child. And there is a guardian ad litem, Tina Day. And she was going to be here. I thought I got a message, an email from her this morning, and she has prepared basically an order of dismissal of guardianship and placing Gracie Lee with father Bradley Evans.
All right, and
But I don't.
Mr. Evans, you're with us here.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I don't see Ms. Day. I haven't seen that report, unfortunately.
She was planning on being in person.
She was planning.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is pass the case. She may be on a docket in a different county. That sometimes happens. So let's do that. And hopefully she'll log on in a little bit.
Okay.
Your Honor, I will contact her for the court. I was in contact with her about that.
And I think Ms. Farr is involved in this case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And is Ms. Kuanoni here? I haven't seen her name.
I thought she was going to be. I just talked with her yesterday.
The question is whether the father has been served yet in this case.
No, she hasn't been able to serve either parent.
Okay. My understanding is from a previous docket, the mother, I believe, had no objection.
Correct. She appeared at the last hearing, said
Right.
that she had no objection, but she still hasn't been served.
Okay.
And she was supposed to get in touch with me and she has not. And Ms. Canoni said that she hasn't heard from her at all since the hearing either. So nobody knows where she's at right now. The
Yeah.
father is at Airway Heights, and she had sent documents there to have him served, but they have been misplaced. And so I gave her instruction on how to have the sheriff's office deliver them to the facility and serve them through the sheriff's office instead. So she said she was going to do that.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we need to extend the immediate emergency in order to accomplish service.
Yes.
How long out do you think we should go?
Well, she said she would work on it right away. So maybe at least 3 weeks.
Okay. Well, that will be July 13th. I think I'd like to review this earlier than later. So let's set it for July 13th. If anybody else shows up on the case, then I'll just indicate that we'll come back on July 13th.
Okay.
Her picture is with the name Isaac Kirkpatrick.
That's what we're noticing. I'm not sure why she's not responding, but so last time we were here, let me start with Ms. Cutbirth. You indicated that you did not want to continue as the guardian. Is that still your position today?
Yes, I love him and he's a sweet boy. He's got a lot of stuff and I have 5 kids and it's just not working in our house. But I did help me and Brad work together to get his paperwork done. When we went in to file it, they told us that it would be a whole new case and that we would have to pay the filing fee and all the things. I thought that it was just filling out a new petition and just turning it in to have you look it over. But the the people at the courthouse told me that I couldn't do that.
Okay. So were you able to file it or you have to come up with the filing fee?
No, we weren't able to file it. We didn't have the filing fee. I didn't realize that we would have to do all that.
Hey, Mr. Peters, given what you ran into in the clerk's office, what's your position of filing at this point?
I would like to file for guardianship, but we're going to need a little more time. Bruno is safe right now between me and Cadron. Cadron's still helping with certain things, but we feel like we've got him in a direction that's a lot more positive. He's being seen by his counselor and he saw his doctor yesterday and we've got some medication going. So we've been able to, combine our efforts and still continue to care for Bruno. And I don't have a problem. I would very much like to take over the guardianship role until his mom can get a few things in place. Now, I have heard that his mother does have a treatment intake and that she is going to go and do an outpatient assessment and that she is currently in counseling. I hope these things are true, because that's definitely steps in the right direction. And I would very much like at some point to work with mom, get some things taken care of, and, you know, eventually have her functioning in the children's lives again, back in their lives. That's the goal.
Has there been any contact since we were last together?
With
Ms. Crawl?
no, not to me. No.
Okay.
I've just heard mutual friends.
She's had a couple of phone calls with the kids. I don't think she's had very much success with trying to stay on a schedule with them, but I know that she's had a few of the I know that she's had contact with Bruno. I think maybe twice, right? Brad, you would know better. How many times is Tyra?
No, I think more times than that, but I think maybe 3 or 4 times, but I know that very little, but from what I do understand, she is trying to stabilize her situation and get back on her feet and make some better decisions. So I know that this time has been really challenging for her. I do believe she is on the path to making better decisions and getting some things done. And I know that those things can be challenging when you're trying to, when you made choices and your life's kind of out of order and you're trying to get it back together. So I do believe she's trying.
Ms. Farr, have you had any contact with the parties here?
No, Your Honor, I haven't had contact with any of the parties since the last hearing. I did not know that there was a doctor visit or medications prescribed. This is all new information.
The doctor visit was just yesterday. So what happened specifically is that Bruno did have kind of a he had an issue where he was doing threats of suicide and feeling kind of overwhelmed with his emotions. We got Brad got emergency services brought to the home so that Bruno could speak with them about how he was feeling. He said he wasn't suicidal. He was just upset, and that, he was safe and happy, or not happy, but you know what I mean? He's safe and he knows that he's in a good place. He, after that visit, they left and he ended up having another issue. I took him to the hospital because that's what they had suggested that we do if he had mentioned suicide again. I took him to the hospital. He was evaluated by a doctor and a social worker. They determined that he wasn't suicidal, that he just has big feelings, and that he was very low risk, and that he didn't need outpatient or inpatient at the time, that they could just do intensive outpatient. So I brought him home. They scheduled him an appointment just like a day later or 2 days later with his primary, which he already needed to see her for a well child check. So he did see the primary. The medication that she prescribed is very non-invasive. It's really, she said that she wants him to see a psychiatrist to get an actual diagnosis before there's any medications really prescribed. But the medication that she did prescribe, I can't remember what it's called because I just found out about it yesterday, but it's really just a medication that kind of, the way the doctor explained it is that it takes him from, if he's in the green zone, instead of jumping right to the red zone where his whole world is on fire, it gives him an opportunity to be in that yellow zone where he can think things through. It just gives him time to think, basically. And it makes it easier for him to process through his emotions, or gives him more time to process. He's on a very, very low dose of it right now.
When do you think you'll have your petition filed, Mr. Peters?
I would say that I could have it done within, it's Wednesday today. I would like to say by early next week, I could get something before the court. If I have to file a whole new order and what they're talking about. And I mean, it does take time. And between Cajun and I know that we could probably figure it out. Our schedules are kind of busy as we are always dealing with the kids. So I would like to say that I could have something done by early next week.
Okay. Ms. Kroll, are you able to hear us? I'm going to put this over 3 weeks to July 13th. I want everybody to be back on that date. Hopefully the new petition will be filed, and if it's not before me, I'll at least be able to look at it. On the resources we have. And Ms. Cutbirth, are you okay being involved at least 3 more weeks?
I mean, yeah, I'm Brad has been helping a lot with Bruno, and honestly, he has him. I try to just check in and things like that. But if anything major happens, I tend to take the reins just because I feel like that's my responsibility. But he does better over at Brad's than he does at my house sometimes, and sometimes he does better over here than he does there. So we're not ping ponging him, but we're
doing
kind of
what we've been doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Farr, I'd like you to stay involved in this case, and if we could be back in 3 weeks, then I'll extend the immediate emergency minor guardianship until the 13th, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead.
I have two questions. Should Brad file the immediate order? Could he just skip and go straight to guardianship? I know that mom may have expressed possibly being interested in just kind of allowing that or something. If she was willing, should we just file that instead?
If she was willing and would sign a consent, then you could go straight to a guardianship.
Okay, is it consent through the courts, like a form through the courts, or is that just a written consent?
If you go to Washington court forms under guardianships, I think there's a form in there that you can print off.
Okay, perfect. And then for future medical stuff, I apologize if I was supposed to contact Sherry. I wasn't sure. So if I need to, I will, though. I don't know if that's something
between now and when we come back on the 13th, I think if there is any medical going on, you should probably let her know.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll see you back here then in 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here on the full guardianship petition. I saw the mother was served on June 13th. And is that would be Jennifer Spalding?
Correct.
Is she here by any chance?
I didn't see her.
So here's where we're at. We're going to get where we want to go, but she was served on the 13th. That was 9 days ago. And she gets under the statute and the summons 20 days to respond. So we're a little bit shy of that. So I was going to put this out 2 weeks to give her a chance to respond if she wants to. And if not, then I'll be free to go ahead and enter an order at that time. Okay. And if there's no response, then I should be able to enter the guardianship order. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Oh, we do. So her temporary emergency expires today. So does that mean that's going to be?
That's a good question.
For 4 days.
Yep. So yeah, I did have a note that I was going to extend the emergency order for 60 days to August 25th.
Okay.
So I will take care of, all right, I see Miss Cheryl is here and Ms. Day. And just a moment. Looks like I see Bradley Evans, but are you the mother of Gracie Lee?
No, I am her aunt.
Okay.
I haven't had much contact with her mom, so I'm not sure
Okay.
where she's at.
I don't expect mother to appear. She hasn't been very active in this case.
Okay. All right. Let me indicate that last time I recommended, or I ordered that the GAL recommendations be adopted. I didn't do an order to that effect. I did that this morning, so that will take care of that. And I think I'm here just to check in to see how things are going at this point. Ms. Day, maybe I should hear from you first.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. We are here just kind of as a follow-up to see how things are going. The transition has gone really well. I would be asking for dismissal this morning. The petitioner and the father have worked very well together. Gracie is transferred to father primarily, and it is time for the guardianship to be dismissed. She's doing very well. Father has filed for a parenting plan with mother and is in that process now. So this is the appropriate time to dismiss the guardianship, enter final orders, and allow Gracie Lee to be placed primarily with her father pending a parenting plan matter.
Is it appropriate to dismiss this before the parenting plan is actually adopted?
I don't see any reason why not. I had very little contact, and she is working the stepmother for the visits that she is having. She's having 1 or 2 hour supervised visits a week. And so when she reaches out, she's getting that contact. A parenting plan does need to be entered, but I don't think there's a risk at this point. And the order that I prepared places Gracie with her dad pending that.
Okay.
And I've had conversations with the father, Brad Evans, and he is working on a petition to establish a parenting plan through a parentage action.
Okay. Ms. Cheryl, any comment?
No, I feel like Gracie is transitioning very well. I think that it's a lot smoother than I thought it would be. But she's doing really good, it seems to me anyway. My only concern is they are doing awesome. They're doing hard work. I'm not trying to diminish any of that. Is just the relapse part for Gracie, protection for that. If there was one, what would the protection be? That is my only concern. But I'm very proud of them and the hard work that they've done. So.
Well, if the need for a guardianship comes up in the future, you can always refile and ask for an immediate order if that's necessary. Did you, you indicated you had an order, Ms. Day. Do you have an order?
I do have an order. I prepared that order. I've shared that with Mr. Anagnosto. I did not get a chance to share that with everyone else, but it is a very simple dismissal order indicating that fathers complied with all the orders of the court, made sufficient progress to dismiss, and that Gracie should be placed with him, and fees for the attorney, Mr. Anagnosto, and for myself should be paid.
Anybody have an objection to me signing that order? So Ms. Day, I know you're in the courtroom, or courthouse. I don't know if you want to stay here, or if you just want to drop it off at the clerk's office, but I may not be done for another 20 minutes. So
I'll leave it with the clerk and have it routed to you.
okay. Just have them put my name on it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I want to congratulate Stefan. He has done an amazing job working through this process and working with Rena, and they've done a great job working together to help this be successful for Gracie Lee, and I couldn't ask for the outcome.
And I want to say, I think part of the goal of a minor guardianship is to create a bridge when parents are in a place where they can't take care of their kids, somebody else can until the parents are able to. And so we've really served one of the main goals of this statutory system. And I really appreciate everybody's hard work on that. Okay. All right.
I want to say thank you as well. Thank you guys so much.
Yep. Good luck.
Your Honor, with regards to entry of the order does provide for fees. I was initially set to have a $1,500 fee. I was looking at the bill my billings today, it's a little bit over that. It's like 1,700. Do I just get the 1,500 and we wrap this up, or I'm just not sure what there's no number in there for my fees at this time.
Sure. Do you want to do a declaration? I think if I go over the 15, I'm going to have to have support for it.
Can I decline to do that and just get the 15 and get it wrapped up?
I think I can do that.
That box and write that in for 1,500 per.
Yeah, if you just want to write that in, that's fine. I'm certainly aware of the work that Mr. Anagnostou has done in this case.
And it would be more work for my staff to put it together, and it would just be easier.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, and I've indicated on the orders that all parties have agreed by Zoom.
No, we're just waiting for you, Mr. Esau. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you. I understand.
we're so
Don't-
close to being done. The judge insisted that I stay. So
No need to apologize. So we're here on the guardianship of Dalen Birch. We have Tina Day. Ms. Winkles represents Ms. Birch. Mr. Esau represents Mr. Birch. And I believe we have the guardian with us on the telephone. And the purpose of today was to look into whether there should be any kind of contact between Dalen Birch and David Birch. And I wanted Dalen Birch to talk to her attorney about that before I made a decision. And also, I suspect Ms. Day may have something to say along with Mr. Esau. So I'm going to start with Ms. Winkles and then Ms. Day, and then Mr. Esau. I'll end with you. Okay.
okay, that sounds great.
Yes, and I'll be filing a declaration of my client in due course, because unfortunately, I only was able to speak to her as of yesterday due to the mother taking the child out of the house contrary to the court order. We'll have that in a declaration as well. The child was returned by the police to the guardian, but that is a significant issue. So I'm doing this basically as of yesterday, but we will get a formal declaration stating exactly what I'm going to state today. Dakota does want to have contact with her father. She does not want to live with her father. Her reasons for that are that she reports that dad has a significant drinking problem, Fireball whiskey, his drink of choice. He also smokes marijuana and does that in the house in front of her. She loves her dad very, very much. She says that when her dad is drinking is when he's mean. When he's drunk, he yells at her. He's called her a hood rat. He's told her she's not good enough. She's been slapped in the face by him, including March 19th of 2023. It was an open hand. It was not a closed fist. He used the back of his hand, not the front. His fingers did not hit her face. It was here. She states that he does drink every day. She loves him very much. She asked that dad be evaluated for alcohol dependence. And that dad move forward to taking that out of his life. And she's hopeful that dad can do that. And she, as I said, she loves him very much. The living situation at dad's house is not good. She lives with grandma, grandpa, and dad. She believes grandma has significant anger issues. My client is mouthy. She's 12. She's definitely mouthy. They got into an argument, grandma and her. Grandma asked her to help grandma with homework. I guess grandma's in school. Client talked back and said she just wanted to chill. Her words. Grandma said okay to Dalen, and Dalen said okay Cinder, which is the first name, which was disrespectful. Then my client did egg her around slightly and said, "I'm not afraid of you," as she ran into her room. Grandma got up, and my client reports that grandma got in her face. My client pushed her out of her face, and grandma slapped her. Dad then, grandma threw an H2O bottle at her as well. Dad then came in, essentially pushed grandma off of her and slapped grandma and told her to leave his child alone.
Told them that your mom abuses her.
And
all kinds of shit.
my
can't live there.
client wants to see her dad. She asked for visitation to occur at her uncle Scotty's house. She said Scotty is a good guy. She asked for every other, either Saturday or Sunday, depending on dad's schedule. She says he's a roofer, so she thinks he works on Saturdays. She said every other Saturday or Sunday from 10 to 4. She wants to be with dad. She just wants Uncle Scotty to be there. She asked that dad not consume any alcohol for 12 hours before. She doesn't really have a problem with the marijuana, but she definitely has a problem with the alcohol. She said, you know, when dad is sober, he's a good guy. She just wishes that he would get that under control for her. She wanted me specifically to ask dad to get it under control for her because he's the only thing she has in her life. And so she wanted me specifically to ask dad that personally to do that for her, and that she would be better. And I quote, "I can be a better daughter if he can do this for me." She states when it comes to her mother, she would like a restraining order. She said her mother is out of control. Her mother uses meth, fentanyl, and crack. She's never seen her mother use. However, her mother leaves paraphernalia lying around. I have seen personally the text, which I will supply to the court, where mother is calling the child all sorts of names and saying that the child, how dare you even do this? You're, ruining my life. I'm writing you off. You're dead to me. She would like a restraining order, as mother did come to get her. She wasn't kidnapped. She did go with her mother willingly because her mother did say, if you don't come, you will essentially, you're dead to me. Her mother, she reports her mother sells drugs and uses the money at a casino rather than supporting the family with it. She wants to start new. She currently goes to Cascade Middle School. She wants to go to McLaughlin in Vancouver. She just wants away from all this. She wants a chance at life. So she asks again that dad get every other, either Saturday or Sunday from 10 to 4, depending on dad's schedule, that Uncle Scotty supervise in she believes he lives in Lexington. She trusts him. She says dad trusts him. He's a good guy. She doesn't want to have visitation at grandma's house. She says grandma just makes things worse because grandma's mean. And she said dad it's a 2-bedroom house anyway. They're on top of each other. Dad is in the garage. She has her own room, but she said it's just too much for her at this time. That's what my client states. She also states that she's happy with the guardian. The guardian is a good lady. She is going to come to my office in 2 weeks, the child, and she's going to take a UA from me so that to prove that the guardian is not supplying any sort of substances to her. I have personally asked the child for a number of items so that I can work better with her. I do it with all my child clients, essentially a contract with me that they're going to do what I ask them to, including no skipping school, no drug use, no pregnancy. She is 12 years old. None of these should be occurring anyway. And I expect that done. I have them come to my office. I offer to pick them up. This is one out of all of my child clients. This one has the most potential for excellence. She's an incredibly intelligent girl. She has seen way too much for a 12-year-old. And I think that we need to really consider the future here. My client says she wants to stay with the guardian. I just think this child has an incredible amount of potential. And if what she's asking dad, if only dad knows the truth here, is what she needs, then I would state this child could be anything. And so whatever the family can do here to make that a possibility, they should do. One of the smartest 12-year-olds I've ever met, and incredibly emotionally mature. So I'd ask the court to, at this point, do the emergency guardianship with the guardian. I think everybody needs to be very involved in this case. I think this case should have high court interference. And I'm hoping that whatever resources that we're able to give to these people, we can. I will be seeking a restraining order against mom in the meantime.
What is the mother's name?
Nora Lynn. I'm not sure. I can never remember her last name.
Okay.
Moxley.
There you go.
Yeah, Moxley. Thank you. Ms. Day?
So, Your Honor, I've had a lot of difficulty getting a hold of the petitioner and the child. My first meeting with the child was yesterday, midday. I have not had a chance to meet with the petitioner yet, so I'm hoping to get that this week. That's in part due to the situation with mother's interference, and in part just due to a kind of a lack of cooperation by the petitioner. So I do have some concerns there, but I do respect Dalen's feeling she does want to stay with the petitioner right now. She does want to have day visits with her dad, but she does not want to return home to his care. And she definitely does not want to have any contact with mom right now. She's very concerned and fearful of mom and doesn't want to be put in that situation any further. And I think at least in the interim, it makes good sense that she stay with the petitioner, have the supervised visits as requested with her dad, and that give us some time to do the investigation and figure out where everything is at and what's needed moving forward. And I would ask for probably 30 days or 40 days just to have time to do that and at least be able to provide some information to the court.
Thank you. Mr. Esau, you have a chance to talk to your client.
I did have a chance to talk with him yesterday and again today for the first and second time. Yesterday was more of a scheduling issue, and then today was prior to my trial. I don't know as much as Ms. Priestley does about the situation. I've read the declaration. I've read the petition for emergency guardianship. I don't know if a regular petition for guardianship has been filed yet. So if it has not been, obviously we're under a 60-day with the possibility of extension if needed. I understand that the petitioner used to be the girlfriend of my client. That was several years ago, and then they started communicating again, but not in a dating relationship or anything of that nature. There seems to be, if I understand it correctly, some drug history with the petitioner. I'm not sure if she has a conviction. I'm not sure if
I'm a drug and alcohol counselor.
Okay, so anyway, not sure if we need to do any intervention and or drug or alcohol testing there, but it might be necessary, and we'll reserve on that at this point until we have more information in logical order. My client would prefer to have the child live with him, understanding the situation with the parents being there. It wasn't my understanding that he was living with the parents. It was my understanding that he had his own place. But in any event, he's asking that she be returned to his care, custody, and control. He believes he's the best person between him and the petitioner to take care of this child, and has been taking care of her since she was 4 years of age. The mom has, Miss Moxley, has not been in the picture other than to visit, I assume, every now and then, but she hasn't had any meaningful impact on the child since then. And so my client would request that the custody of the child come back to him, and we move forward from there. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Ms. Winkles, any response?
I think at this point, again, what my client, again, this is a very emotionally mature child. She wants to live with the petitioner right now. I think 60 days is what this child has seen in her life. I don't think 60 days is going to hurt her in any way. I think that way, any evaluations, any treatment that anybody needs, we can do at that time. So I'd ask that at this point, on an emergency basis, she be placed with the petitioner. And I'd ask for a review in 30 days prior to that 60 days, so we can look at what the guardian ad litem says.
So what I've done in the past leading up to doing an emergency minor guardianship is I've extended the immediate emergency minor guardianship, but I'm going to end up doing that for probably as long as the emergency minor guardianship. And I think it makes more sense at this point, after hearing everyone, if I do enter the emergency minor guardianship, and then we're going to start the time frame going down of the initial 60 days, and perhaps it gets renewed. But given what Dalen is reported through her attorney, I'm inclined to grant that at this point. So I don't know, do we have an order to that effect?
I can get an order, Your Honor. I would ask for
evaluation. Let me we do have one here. Let me take a look. what I've got. This was filled out by Miss Kearney. Miss Winkles, I think I'm going to have you do another one.
Absolutely.
Here's what I want to have happen. If you can put this in the order, I would like the guardian to do a UA within 5 days. I would like the father, Mr. Birch, to do a UA within 5 days and provide those results to Ms. Day.
In Your Honor, any of these having an alcohol EKG with them?
Yeah, let's do that. And then you're going to do some testing on Dalen herself.
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
And so we'll get those results. I will allow the every other weekend visit. That can start this weekend with Uncle Scotty, whatever his last name is. For what did we say? 10 to 4, 10 to 6, something like that.
10 to 4, and it's up to Dad because he does have a job. So
I'm not working right now.
Okay. What day would you prefer, Mr. Birch?
Weekends are fine.
Okay. Let's do it on Saturday, 10 to 4 with Uncle Scotty. And Mr. Birch, I'm going to order that you not consume alcohol or any other substance 12 hours before the visit. And,
okay.
and also during the visit. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Does that mean that the restraining orders drop? Am I allowed to talk to her on the phone? Or?
I'm gonna drop the restraining order. And does Dalen have her own telephone?
She does, Your Honor. And she asks for text at this time, and then moving to verbal after her first visit. If they get along.
So.
The judge can also contact me on my phone, Your Honor. I have no problem coordinating him seeing his daughter. And also, Your Honor, I think that the dad should be allowed, like at least every weekend. Like I had said earlier, there was the incident, but I don't think he's a bad dad. Everything that Dalen said is true. And I think that David should be able to see her, every weekend if that's what he wants, if he's not working. I think Dalen was concerned that he was working.
Dalen indicated she wanted every other weekend. If she wants to increase that before we get together, I'm okay with that. But I'm going to let Dalen decide for right now.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then in addition, Your Honor, so there is no substance use for me. I'm a drug court graduate. I've been clean and sober for 5 years. I can show proof that I've graduated drug court. I can also take a drug and alcohol assessment showing that I don't meet the recommendations for treatment, Your Honor. I am in recovery.
Okay. Well, all I'm asking for now is a UA that would also show any alcohol use. And I just want to verify on part of everybody here. Okay.
Yeah, I was just letting you know because the attorney had kind of made the comment that I'm a drug user and that I have a criminal background, which both are untrue, Your Honor.
The last thing is I do want put in the order a no contact with the mother. The mother was
yes, I'm trying to file a restraining order against the mother as well. There's an open police report and I'm going to be pressing charges. She came into my home and broke all of my belongings. There's an open police report with the Vancouver Police Department.
Okay. Well, I want that as part of the emergency minor guardianship order too. Okay.
And then in addition to that, there's text messages of her threatening to stab me with a kitchen knife and beat me up every time she sees me. So I'm more concerned about my safety than the child's. I think that she manipulates the child like the guardian had said, and the attorney, she'll tell the child, oh, you don't love me then if you're going to go be with your dad. If you talk to your dad, you don't love me. She tries to manipulate the child against the father as well as myself.
Okay. Well, those are the reasons in part that I want the order preventing the mom from contacting you. And if you need to pursue either a protection order or another order, you can do that. Okay.
I do, Your Honor. I did have a question about it though. She's homeless and transient, so I'm going to go turn it into the Vancouver Police Department because that's where the incident occurred. But they can't serve someone who's homeless and transient, so I'm not really sure how that works.
I don't know that I can answer that either. You have to work with the police department. All right, Ms. Day, any questions? And Ms. Kearney, make sure you contact Ms. Day. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had to change my number, Your Honor, and that was kind of the reason why that got all messed up. I was scared, to be honest with you. I was terrified for my life of Norland. She was contacting me and the child through different text now numbers on our cell phones, Facebook, Snapchat, any means necessary. Then once we blocked all contact from her, because Dalen had asked me to, she showed up to my house. I had to call the cops a second time, and because she was trying to break into my home.
Okay, I need to go around and ask Ms. Day, any questions at this point?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Mr. Issa.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Winkles.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. I think I need to give us a return date then. Ms. Winkles asked for 30 days. That would be July 20th.